so we're kind of picking up where we left off. I may have gone a little bit further than I did last time. We're still working on the highlights. So that's where we are at the moment. So I'm just gonna go ahead and continue with that. Like I said last time, we're on a screen layer, and we're gonna be using our airbrush tool on the hard setting. Okay, so here we go. So I'm working on kind of the arch of the spider eyes on Web's chassis, because this is Web. Web is the one missing the arm. And I kind of want to start off very bright in some areas and not quite as bright in others. So that's what we're doing. So updates. I have been watching a lot of Kamen Rider. My roommate, who you can hear celebrating in the background, is very excited about the fact that I finally have started to like Kamen Rider. It's kind of like when I started watching Transformers Prime and like slowly got bled into the Transformers fandom again after what I want to say like a 17-year break. Because like I watched Beast Wars as a kid, and then I kind of fell out of it after Beast Machines. And like I never really came back to it. Like I saw the Transformers movie, and I knew about like G1 and stuff like that, but I never really got into it the way that like a lot of people like Rob never really got out of it. And so I was just out of the Transformers fandom for years and years and years. And I never came back until Rob introduced me to Transformers Prime. And this was after Prime was over and was on Netflix. So I could just binge watch the hell out of it, which turned out to be for the better, because when I finally sat down to watch it, I ended up falling in love with Starscream all over again, and also with Knockout, who is just my absolute favorite. And just I fell in love with the show, period. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was very well written. I thought it was well animated. I loved the sounds. I loved everything about it. And the more addicted I became, the more Robert's like, okay, but here's some other Transformers stuff we could watch if you're hungering for more. And so then it just became the slow descent into hell. Which seems to be a lot of things with Rob. Like he starts off with like, look, there's this thing that I think you'll really like, and it's not going to ruin your life at all in any way whatsoever. 4 months later, Robert, what the hell did you do to me? I've bought 5 packs of Ikoria all on my own. What have you done? You know, or I created an entire AU for Transformers, and it's got details. I went into world building aspects. What the hell have you done to me? And it's always that kind of thing. Where it's like, he gets me into it, and then I take it way too far. Like, I wind up always becoming more of an addict than he is, I think, about a lot of stuff. Thankfully, I'm not that bad with magic, I don't think.
You'd buy a box if you could.
I would buy a box. I mean, I could definitely buy a box right the F now. I have the money for it. It's just that with everything that's going on with magic, I haven't really felt the inclination. Like, it's okay, but I don't really have anyone to play with except Rob and Mikella, and right now they don't ever want to play with me. So
You never asked.
I asked. You guys didn't seem to be interested the last time I asked, so I just stopped asking.
That was one time on the middle of a Sunday when I had a migraine.
I know.
Okay.
And then my brain was like, don't ever ask him ever again, because listen, my brain is not great at this. Anyway, so since I don't really have a lot of, I only have like them to play with, it's kind of become this thing of like, well, I don't really want to play because I want people to play against, and the people I was playing against were mostly teenagers, but it was part of the Magic Club, and I enjoyed that because it was kind of a challenge for me because the teenagers are really good, especially one of them who would just go out and buy these like cheap rares from Card Kingdom and then come to the game with this new deck and kick my butt when I had like no money to spend on cards, and I'm like, you little bastard. And so it kind of became this like, I'm gonna like this challenge to kind of kick his ass, but I don't have that anymore because for obvious reasons. Obvious reasons being the Rona. The Rona, as Rob and Mikella have started referring to it. So I can't get out to go play it, and like I would play it online, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Besides, I have Eternal for playing card games online, so why would I play Magic online? Like understandably, I can understand like why I would feasibly, I can understand why I would play Magic online, but like I don't know, I'm like not interested in doing it for some reason. Like I should be more interested in it, but I'm just not. Like maybe eventually I'll get into it if this goes on for years. But like as it stands, I prefer playing with the cards in person. So, like I'm not quite as addicted to it as like I could be, I guess. I just don't feel the inclination to buy cards if I have no one to play against. Is really what it boils down to. There's no motivation to like improve my decks. Besides other than like, oh, this would be cool to do, you know? So like there I haven't gotten quite so bad, but like the best example is definitely Transformers, where I went absolutely hog wild and I like created all these OCs, and then I built this entire freaking like AU for them to live in, and I went kind of insane. I was like, I'm gonna make a fan comic and no one can stop me because I'm not selling it for profit. So then I started doing that, and like I started a badly drawn blog, and then the next thing you know is like I've gone completely insane. And it feels like Kamen Rider might be headed in that direction because I've been kind of like not seriously but semi-seriously contemplating you know, if I was a writer, you know, what kind of writer would I be? And that's always the downhill slope of like, if I was a Transformer, what kind of Transformer would I be? And the next thing you know, I've built 5, 6, 10 of them or something. And then there's an entire U to go off of it. Like, that's how it always starts with me, you know? And the thing is like, I'm not one of those kind of people who just, like, throws away fandoms. I stick with them for years. Like, I'm still absolutely obsessed with Dragon Age and Mass Effect. It's just that Mass Effect's kind of dead, which I'm still bitter about. And, you know, it's kind of... And there's no new Dragon Age... Like, I mean, there was kind of new Dragon Age stuff, but until there's, like, a new game, I'm not gonna really, like, get too excited about it. So I'm kind of, like, still waiting for stuff as far as that's concerned. Like, and it's harder to be active in a fandom that's, like, absolutely dead. And I you know, that's not to say, like, I don't grow and eventually grow out of fandoms, because I definitely have. Like, I used to be way more invested with anime, than I am now. Like, I can honestly say I'm not as invested or interested in watching anime as I used to be anymore. Like, I'll still watch anime. I'm not saying, like, I never watch anime, because I definitely do. I watched one, like, the other day, unprompted.
So, like, if I may throw this out there.
Yeah?
I feel this is me.
Yeah.
I don't think we should ever count anime as its own fandom.
Yeah.
It's a genre.
It is, yeah.
It's the same thing as, like, all those guys who go, like, oh, I'm such a gamer. No, you're a Call of Duty player. You play just Call of Duty, maybe Battlefield if you're feeling spicy today, right? You're just as much of a gamer as the gal who only plays Candy Crush. You're equally gamers. They do not want that to be acknowledged.
Okay.
Right? Now, the comparison would be like, even me, I do not think I like every single video game.
Yeah.
I am a student of video game design. I will play anything once to see what's going on. But like, that's why I went, oh, Call of Duty is not for me. That does not mean that it is beneath me.
Yeah.
It is not for me.
I feel the same way about a lot of games.
So anime's kind of fallen into the same thing. Like, I want things that are generally happy with good heroes, but where the plot doesn't durdle.
Yeah.
So, like, Tensei Slime fits all of those for me. If the plot does durdle, I want it to be like a slice of life or a harem anime, where the stakes have never been lower. The stakes are this schlub who... either this schlub can't get a date despite the 12 women throwing themselves at him, or this dude might lose his job at a bookstore because of all the crazy antics his friends get up to. But, like, if it's an action anime, so many of them durdle.
Yeah.
They grunt for 4 episodes and then nothing happens.
Yeah, like, and that was entertaining as a kid because I didn't know better, and now I'm older, and I'm like, I can't sit here for, like, 10 minutes watching men grunting. It's not porn.
It's like, look, we don't have that much time left. There's a virus. If I'm gonna binge watch something, I want something where something happens every episode.
Yeah.
So, like, Dragon Ball Z, no thank you. It was good when I was a kid.
Yeah.
One piece I at least have to give credit of every episode something happens.
Yeah.
Which for 933 episodes is very impressive. That's an investment I do not have the ability to take right now. Naruto was like, nope, we're just gonna durdle for this whole Chunin exam. Because we Dragon Ball Z now, boys. Then, like, the flip side to that is you get series that you want to be longer. Like, I would love for there to be another Eumeria. Because Eumeria didn't durdle. It's like, 12 episodes, got to the point, let's go. Great, where's the next 12? What next 12? Yeah, like, you got to the point of this arc, where's the next arc? That's the whole thing. You ate it. It's gone. But, please, sir, I want some more. This is the story of like, this is a weird magical girl as a shonen anime. I love it. Give me more of this. No. Please? No. What if I want something similar? Go watch Evangelion. I said similar, you asshole. Yeah, it's got a guy who cries in it. That's not the same. This guy's crying because he got kicked in the knackers by a monster. That guy's crying because his dad's an abusive asshole who makes him write in his mom as a robot.
Oh, Lord, yeah. The Evangelion has so many...
Also, Evangelion is, like, deep, but I don't like it.
Yeah, it's deep in that way that makes you go, oh, I hate it.
Comparatively, Gurren Lagann is shallow in a way that changes your life philosophy. You can tell how much of Triggering Gainax's work has just been, we need to make up for Evangelion. We need to make up for the sins we have put upon this world. We didn't know what would happen when you combined it with Americans.
Yeah, Americans did kind of go crazy with it.
Well, it was also one of the only things that came close to gay representation.
Oh, yeah.
If you notice, A lot of gays love Evangelion.
Yeah, they do. It's weird.
It's like, but why though? And I'm over here like there are better robots.
Yeah.
Oh, like what? Gundam?
Yes.
I mean, yeah? Most of the Gundam series are about how war is bad. And the one that isn't about how war is bad is about a society without war. So...
Is that the one with all the punching?
That's G Gundam, the one with all the punching.
God, I love G Gundam
and the
so
villain's
much.
plot is to ruin the Federation and potentially bring back war. It's like, no, we need to stop this by punching him.
G Gundam was like my favorite of the Gundam series. I haven't really liked any of the Gundam series except that one.
G Gundam. Well, yeah, G Gundam's the only one that it's a real robot series pretending to be a super robot series, is what it is.
Yeah.
And you and I tend to be more in the super robot area because super robots feel more like magical girls, but with more armor and more gun.
Yeah.
Because
I'm all about.
Yeah, because magical girls are always like, no, I'm here to protect love and friendship for everyone. And super robots are like, I have the power of friendship and also this gun I found. And then you have real robots which are like, is this all there is in life? Is this the tragedy with which humanity must escape?
Oh god, that's so fucking dull.
And that's in general.
Yeah.
Because like, I love real robot shows that work on a positive level.
Yeah.
So like, while everyone else was loving Evangelion with, look, the angels are invading, but we have to use these horribly dark robots to fight them. I'm over here with Dygard going, counter-argument, what if a bunch of wage slaves had to use a half-finished robot because the government sat on its fucking hands when a new attack didn't come in 6 months? And now we're scrambling to save everyone, but it's a story of positivity.
I like that better.
Dygard is so much better than Evangelion. And yes, Dygard is schlocky.
It is very schlocky.
It is very schlocky. The fact that in the first fight, the right arm is made out of chicken wire and paper mache because they put it up as a amusement park ride, fantastic. It's just here to punch aliens and take names, and it's all out of names. And it's just great. I love it. And then, like, yeah, there's tragedy. Like, one of the gals lost her dad in the first attack, which is Asuka's whole reason for being a grumpy bitch. And it's this girl's reason for being, like, kind of an overprotective mom.
Which is much better than a fucking bitch.
It's like, oh, but you don't understand Asuka's pain. Well, I don't. But some people do.
You know what really turned me off of Evangelion?
The fact that the white-haired chick is a clone of his mom?
No, the fact that, like, Jenny wasn't... We had this friend named Jenny, who I love. But Jenny had this real, like, hard-on for pissing me off as a child and also in middle school. And I think it was... I
mean, I do it too, but in jest.
Yeah, like, and the thing is like, I would piss her off to get back at her for this kind of bullshit, but the way she would do it was always she would hit way too low. Like, she would always be like, you're like Asuka, because you're a bitch. And I'm like,
what the fuck?
I'm not, though. I'm actively not. Why would you say that? Like, oh, you'd like Asuka because she's a bitch. And I'm like, I don't, though. She's annoying.
No, you see, I always pegged you more as Rey.
Really?
Not Rey in Evangelion, though. Fuck her.
Yeah.
Rey in Sailor Moon.
Fucking, really?
Well, I mean, you had anger issues in middle school.
I did. I really did.
And you're stubborn.
Yeah.
Knowing you longer, you just really want to be Mina. And yet not.
I kind of want to be Sailor Uranus real bad.
Yeah, there's that too.
Sailor Uranus's goals. She's both bigender and bisexual, and I live for that.
You'll never have those legs, though.
God, right? I never will.
Unless you go through with the surgery.
No.
What? All they do is they shatter your femurs.
Christ.
And put braces in your legs.
No, I don't need to be taller.
We just need to make everyone else shorter. Release the ankle shredder.
I'm gonna be honest, I really feel like I am Sailor Jupiter because I want so badly, because there's like an entire comic book art or comic book arc, not art, where she like spends the entire time going, oh, I want to be so much like...
Oh, is your chat not updating?
It is not.
Oh, yeah, people have been talking.
Oh, fuck.
I wondered why you're not talking to anybody.
That would be why. Let me go ahead and restart Twitch on my phone so I can see people chatting. That would probably fix that issue.
I think that would. That would help a lot.
That was weird that it wasn't updating. Okay.
So yeah, all the old messages will be lost. So by the way, thank you to our new follower.
Oh, we have a new follower?
Yeah, I wondered when you were going to talk about them, and that's why your chat froze. That's the real reason I came in here.
I'm very sorry. Like, I'm sorry.
I'm going to go back to the file maintenance I'm doing, but the short answer is thank you, new follower. Happy robot shows, please. And, like, don't feel bad about not liking anime as much, because the anime's not made for you anymore.
Yeah.
But it's also an entire fucking genre. There's something out there.
Yeah. Oh, I found some stuff. I have found some stuff.
Cautious Hero is just kind of your jam.
I love Cautious Hero so much. Also, thank you, the Black Lorian, for referring to the fact that, yes, I am snack size. I am very tiny. And, eventually I hope to be even smaller.
Oh, I will say there's one thing that might get you back into anime here in a bit.
What?
Due to the Rona.
The Rona.
They're not doing a full filming schedule for the next writer series.
Okay.
Or the current writer series. And so they're filling it in with anime.
Okay, yeah, that would really get me back in.
So, like, 01's getting a slice of life anime to fill in between episodes.
Nice.
That's only, like, 5 minutes long.
Oh, that's nice.
Like, per episode. And to be fair, Gio did something similar where they would have sketches of the actors out of character.
That's hilarious.
But as their characters.
That's hilarious.
Like, their characters admitting they're on a show for, like, after every episode for the first, like, 10 or 15.
Yeah. And
there was shit like, hey, what about this line? What do you mean? This one feels really out of character for me. Isn't my main driving factor to kill you? Yeah! Why would you try to save me? This is sloppy writing is what it is. If we kill both of you, we can't sell your toy. Oh! And then, like, when Decade came in, they started doing them again, but now Decade's in on it. But Decade had that himself. They had, like, they had a wonderful sketch series, and we can find them on YouTube, and you'll find them fucking hilarious.
Okay.
Because it was an Olympics year. Yeah. So they had the Writer Olympics, which was the suit actors in the writer suits doing Olympic events.
That's fantastic.
It's fantastic. And they had the actors who play them out of suit as the judges, having conversations. And one of the best ones was like, hey, wait a minute. What's wrong? Well, we have one writer in a black costume, one in a pink costume, one in a blue costume. What's with these colors? Oh, we were supposed to have a yellow one, but it never happened. Photography is a major theme of the series. And then they go into a full explanation of printing colors. And what would he look like? And they just put a yellow filter on top of the blue one. Just imagine. Just
imagine. Yeah, so sorry if I wasn't responding to you guys. I apparently was not getting chat updates. That's my bad. I'm very sorry.
I'm over here monitoring the chat, so I was talking with them too.
Yeah, Rob is monitoring the chat for me, so thank you, Rob, for responding to people when I couldn't. But I can see you now, so if you had questions about something to do with my art process or the characters I'm working on, or anything I'm saying, please say it again. I'm very sorry. I'm listening. I swear I am. It's just like I couldn't see it, but it's updating now, so now I can really see it. Yay!
Okay, for a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Mass Effect crew members as writers.
I don't know enough writers to do that yet.
No. I mean, draw them as writer forms.
Oh.
Like, what does Kamen Rider Rex look like?
Huge and beefy. Like, basically, what was that huge one that you showed me from the Showa era?
Oh, Stronger.
Yeah. Like him. Like Stronger, yeah.
They can't hear me, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So you might need to repeat my question.
So Rob was asking, like, if I could do art of the different Mass Effect characters as common writers, like basically, what would they look like if they were writers? and he's like for instance like Rex, and I was like, well, you'd look like that one from the Showa era, the stronger one that's like huge and beefy and has like a giant horn on his front, like that guy. That has like big Rex feels.
So do you know the reason why his name is Stronger?
Why?
He is only named Stronger because he's basically looking at all the other ones going, yeah, I'm tougher than you assholes.
Yeah, that's definitely Rex. Rex is very much one of those guys who's like, I am stronger than everyone here, and I know it. But I kind of love that about him. I also kind of love that he's just like a very soft dad figure. Underneath it all, like, he just really wants to protect and help out his people, which, man, do I feel that. Like, I'm just like, screw the rest of the gay representation, I stan Rex. And then they introduced Krogan Grandpa in Mass Effect Andromeda, and I was like, I stan this guy even more. I think it's just because, like, I severely lacked for father figures growing up, so I just cling to any father figure in media that I can.
Ooh, what's this? Another father figure?
Yep. Like, just, oh no, they a dad, I love them. What characters are you working on? Okay, so, the characters I'm working on right now are 2 Transformers OCs of mine. They are mini-cons, which means they're even smaller than mini-bots. They're about, like, human size when they're in their root mode. And in their alt mode, they'd be about, like, the size of a large dog, but they're spiders, so that would be terrifying. Just, you know, very large, robotic spiders the size of a huge dog. Like a Great Dane or something, like... or something. Just very big spiders. And the thing that I like about Web and Weaver is that because of the AU I built, we have a couple of ways that bots come into the world. Because I kind of liked some of the ideas that IDW put forth, but I also really love some of the fanon ideas of bots being created, so I kind of did a mashup of the two. So you have bots who come from the ground, who are known as Well-Forged, because they come from the Well of Allsparks. And then you have bots who are sparked, which means like 2 bots got together, they melded sparks, and now you have a new bot. And the beast with 2 back plates. You spiders fuck that shit. I actually really like spiders, and Web and Weaver are jumping spiders. The cutest of spiders. They're basically Lucas, but black and red. And I love Lucas the spider. Like, jumping spiders are just honestly adorable. They have huge big eyes, and are, like, the size of your fingernail. I think they're adorable. And I love them. And that's what Web and Weaver turn into. Web specifically turns into one with 6 legs because he's missing an arm, and his arms become his spider legs. So because he's missing an arm, he's missing 2 legs. So he just has these like 2 little stumps here instead of full legs. And the reason why that is because when Web and Weaver were sparked, during the process of their creation, they were on a ship that didn't have a lot of the necessary materials, and then their ship got attacked by pirates. So in the middle of the process of them becoming full-fledged bots, they kind of missed out on having all the materials needed to make them. So what this ended up happening is Web kind of came out without an arm, and his brother, his twin, came out deaf. Like, no audios whatsoever. There's no real way to fix... And there's no real way to, like, quote-unquote, fix them, because the connections that would be there in normal bots for, like, you know, control this arm or, you know, process this sound don't exist in their processors. They don't have space for it. Their processor wouldn't really know what to do with it. So they have to have workarounds, which is where their kind of like surrogate older brother Spider comes in, where he builds these prosthetic arms for Web. That Web can actually control like their real arms, and kind of comes up with these ways to translate sound into like written words for Weaver to see. He can't do it if he's not facing the bot, unfortunately, so it's a lot like lip reading, except with extra steps to make it more accurate. But like, so like if you're away from him or you're coming up behind him, he still can't hear you or understand if you're talking to him at all. Because I really wanted to represent like the struggles of people who do have those disabilities and how hard it is to work with those. And I think it really comes from the fact that when I was growing up, I was going to this summer camp back east, and there was this kid who I became very friendly with, and I loved swim class, and he was always very nervous about it, and I didn't understand why. Because I kind of showed up to these summer camps late, because I would come in like a couple weeks in, because back east had different schooling structure than we do out here in the West. So by the time I get there, summer school or summer like these summer schools had already started. So like he was always really nervous about swimming, and I didn't understand why until we had our first swim class, and he shows up without his leg, because he didn't have a leg. He had a prosthetic, and I didn't realize that until we had to go swimming. And he was still pretty good he was still a really pretty good swimmer, but he was so embarrassed by the fact that he was missing a leg, and none of the other kids really wanted to hang out with him. But I thought, he was such a cool guy, and I thought, he's different, like I'm different, but in a different way. And he likes swimming, because no matter where I went, I always felt like the odd one out, because I was always that kid that didn't have a dad, or I was the redhead, or I was the kid that was too loud, or too smart, or too short. I was always too something else. I never really fit in. So hanging out with guys like that, and I feel so bad that I can't remember his name. I'm so terrible with names. But, I loved hanging out with him and talking to him. And, I miss... And, he would always tell me about how, like, because we both love superheroes, and he's like, yeah, but there's no real, like, superheroes like me, because he didn't know about... I think it was a lot like me. We didn't really know about Green Lantern back in the day. Or at least not when, like, Green Lantern was missing his arm. Or not Green Lantern, Green Arrow. And how Green Arrow was, like, missing his arm.
Only in one continuity.
Oh, yeah, and it's only in one continuity.
There's Rider Man. In the Common Rider side, he just straight up has no arm.
Oh, that's neat. But yeah, so it's like, I always kind of wanted to, like, represent that in media, even though it's not really my story to tell. I can really emphasize with that sense of not having representation and not being accepted just for being who you are. Or having people feel like they need to fix you when there's nothing really wrong with you. Or needing something fixed and having people tell you that, it's fine just the way it is. And it's like, it's not. I want it fixed. So, like, I really wanted to try and bring that into how, like, a robotic species could kind of experience that So, and that's kind of how I wound up with Web and Weaver, because they're like these two bots who like kind of never knew their parents. Like their parents were killed off by pirates before they could really get to know them, and then they were just kind of like treated like really awfully by the pirates for a really long time until Spider showed up. So like I really kind of love Web and Weaver because they're just two they're two regular kind of like teenagers, basically, little preteens, and they kind of get into all sorts of messes because they're still figuring stuff out, and they're kind of like they're little they're like rambunctious little jerks who like to mess with people. Most of the time, they don't mean anything bad by it. You know, they're just like seeing how much they can get away with, seeing like, you know, are these people gonna treat us different when they find out what's wrong with us, or how we're different, you know, that kind of thing. 'Cause I did that kind of shit when I was their age, not to the same extent or in the same way, but you know, that same kind of thing. You know, that pushing and pulling to see how much are you going to tolerate me? You know, when is this going to break and you're actually going to like leave me in the dust, and like expecting to be left in the dust. Which, oh god, that got dark. I didn't mean for that to get dark. My bad. But yeah, basically, like I kind of wanted to emphasize like that feeling with them. And I feel like I do that with a lot of my characters. It's just always something I want to explore and like work out through my like my characters. Like with Red Strike, it's kind of like those feelings of anger and violence I have toward people who have kind of hurt me and treated me not so great. Like, and how I've come to terms with forgiving them and just accepting myself and who I am now. So like that's kind of like what I wanted to get out with Red Strike. And then like, you know, there's just certain things that you want to like get out with certain characters, and like I work on that with pretty much every character I create. There's always something about them that I feel is close to myself and like I would like to explore, while also kind of exploring different ideas I just find compelling. Like, especially if I'm working on alien characters, I just really like the idea of, you know, if this existed, how would it work? You know, how would that change how this character feels? Would they feel the same way as me? Like, I always get way too deep into it, I think. Because I think I get out kind of like my existentialism in character creating. Because if I'm not character creating, at night when I go to bed, or like if I'm not on my sleep meds, I get so existential that it keeps me up at night. To the point of my psychologist is like, yeah, we need to put you on some Benadryl. Or one of my coworkers has said, like, yeah, you're not allowed to get high. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. When I'm high, I don't really get existential. I just, I get either, like, kind of floaty, like I do when I'm tipsy, like if it's just a mild high, or if it's too strong of a high, I think I'm a vampire, apparently, and I'm not breathing, which I base off of one time. So that was an interesting experience. Like, I love my friend Yvonne, but anytime, like, it's the first time she's helping somebody get high, she tends to just, like, leave them alone in a room for a while, which is not good when you're neurodivergent and you're getting high for, like, the first time and it's way too strong, you're not sure what's going on, and then her roommates come home and find you just sitting in the dark. And they're like, you okay? Yeah. I'm not sure I'm breathing, but I'm fine. Like, actual things I have said to people I barely know. Her roommates are good sports. I like them. Like, but yeah, they, like, came home to that, and I'm sure that was very disconcerting. To just, like, come home and find this short, redheaded person high out of their brain, surrounded by pizza boxes, concerned that they're not breathing. Like, I'm sure that was very weird for them. It was weird for me, so I can commiserate. Be careful when legally getting high, kids. Yeah, and if you're kids, you shouldn't be getting high. It's for 21 and older. Because by that point, your brain is kind of done developing. I've never panicked while being high, thank God. I did panic once when I was drunk, but I think the issue there was that we were coming home from the bar, and my roommates wanted to go out, and I was like, no, I have a curfew, because this is back when I was living with my mom, and things were awful. And, like, I was very afraid that, like, my mom would get mad at me, for being drunk, and my friends were like, no, we're just gonna go out, and it'll be fine, we'll get changed. I'm like, I don't want to go out, I'm too tired, you got me way too drunk at the bar. So they were just gonna drop me off and then leave. And like, they wouldn't let me do the things that I had learned to do to sober up. Like, they were like, no, if you turn down the window and feel the cold air, you'll feel more drunk. And I'm like, that's not how it works. Because it was like stifling hot in their car, which is just making me, you know, feel more drunk. So I'm like, why would you do this to me? So they just like dropped me off, lied to my mother. My mom saw right through them, and then they left, and I was like, oh god. And then I freaked out, and I was like, my skin is itching, like there's fire ants, and I had to go take a shower immediately. And then I immediately felt sober, and I was like, those bitches. Not really, I love them, but like, seriously, like one thing, the more warm you are, the more you're gonna feel how drunk you are. If you're colder, you don't feel as drunk. I don't quite know why that is. I just know that that's how it works. Like, if you take a cold shower, you will feel sober. You won't necessarily be sober, but you will feel sober. I learned that from my sister, who is now in AA. Like, I learned that in Vegas. That was an interesting night. So, yeah, like, that's the only time I've ever, panicked while experiencing a high from a mind-altering substance, because that is what alcohol is. It is a mind-altering substance. It's just not mind-altering in the way that we would normally, like, it's mind-altering in an acceptable way. Okay, so Vegas, like, I have a few Vegas stories, but the one that I always refer to is for my 21st birthday. My mom got, because my mom had a timeshare, and she has a timeshare in Vegas, and she like rented it out for that weekend. So we were in this huge suite with like a jacuzzi pool and all this stuff. But the first time we got there, it was just me and my half-sister, and my half-sister was like, I'm gonna teach you how to get sick, drunk, and then keep drinking. And I was like, that does not sound like fun. Why would I want to do that? So, like, the second we got to the hotel, she ran off while I was at the welcome desk, getting our, like, welcome basket, because when you, like, are a part of a timeshare, you get a welcome basket. And she comes back, and she's carrying this, like, huge case of Mike's Hard Lemonade and, like, beer. And immediately hands me the Mike's, because, like, she asked on the drive down, and I said, I've had Mike's, I know I like Mike's, because Mike's doesn't taste like alcohol. So she gave me the Mike's Hard Lemonade, and she's like, drink this, and so I drank it on the ride up to our room. So this is even before we have, like, completely, gotten into our room. So while she's getting ready to go out and prepping me to go out and not listening to me when I tell her I can't put that much product in my hair, oh god, she's handing me a Mike's every time I finish one off. So by the time we got to Margaritaville, I'm already 2 drinks in, and I'm a very small person, so for me that's a lot of alcohol already, even though it's just Mike's. I'm a very cheap drunk. Like, it doesn't take a lot to get me to the point where I'm tipsy. Mostly because of my height. And back then, probably because of my weight, because I was skinnier then. So I'm already mildly drunk, and we get to Margaritaville, and I order Hurricane, because I'd heard my friend, who's slightly older than me, say that she'd had one once and that they were good, so I was like, okay, I'll try a Hurricane. And yeah, Hurricanes are pretty good. But then my sister comes back with, like, a sour pucker shot, and she's like, I'm gonna teach you how to do shots, and I'm like, oh god, why? So I learned how to do shots with a sour pucker shot at the table at Margaritaville, and we had, like, nachos, and that was it. Like, there was not a whole lot of food getting eaten at Margaritaville. It was mostly me drinking a Hurricane, and we ate nachos, and that was about it. So I was not getting a lot of food in my stomach, which is, like, danger option number 1. If you want to be really hungover the next day, don't eat anything. Because I'd already learned some tips from my mom about drinking and getting drunk, and that's if you want to avoid a migraine, drink a ton of carbs. I mean, eat a ton of carbs, not drink a ton of carbs. Eat a ton of carbs, like eat spaghetti. And drink a ton of water in between all of the alcohol. And my sister was allowing me to do absolutely none of that. So I was getting fairly wasted. Like, we get back to the hotel, and this is after a Hurricane and a sour pucker shot and 3 Mike's Hard Lemonade. And she's putting another one in my hand as we get back. And I'm like, I feel way too drunk already. So she sticks me in the shower, in a super cold shower, and is like, here, just get in there. You'll sober up immediately. And I was like, oh god, why? There's gonna be a lot of oh god, why in this story. So I do it. And, like, I get out of the shower. I feel sober. I wasn't, but I feel sober. Because that's what taking a cold shower does. I get out. She has to fix my hair again and again. No, that's too much product. My hair can't handle that much product. Oh god, no. We get changed. We go back out. We're going to Caesars to go to Fat Tuesday to get yards. And I was like, no, I can't drink a full yard. That's, like, as tall as I am. So I got half a yard. And I didn't realize I got the half a yard of the drink with the highest alcohol proficiency in it. Which is my bad. My sister got the same one, but she got hers with, like, 2 extra shots of alcohol in it. And then we went to the blackjack tables. I did surprisingly well, because this is back when I was still on Neopets, and Neopets had this game that was essentially blackjack. And I figured that out real fast. Because all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is like that game on Neopets. I'm good at that game. And I am surprisingly good at blackjack. So I was making not a lot of money, but I was coming away with more money than I was leaving, than I'd left with, or that I arrived with. And then I got up from the table to go to the bathroom, and I realized, oh, I'm not walking straight. This is a problem. So by the time I got back to the table, I wanted to order water, and my sister was like, no, you have to keep drinking with me until mine is gone. So I sneakily drank both of ours, and then kept ordering a crap ton of water. Because if you're in Vegas and you're at a table, they have to bring you drinks. They want you to be drunk and keep gambling, is really how that boils down. I kept ordering water because I was like, no, listen, I'm way too drunk. Just give me water. I don't want to be sick in the morning. And then after we were done at the blackjack table, because my sister was running out of money, I was like, why don't we go find some place to eat? I'm hungry. Because again, I have eaten all of, like, a plate of nachos this day. And that was about it, other than, like, road snacks. Because, again, we have just gotten to Vegas, and this is all happening in the same night. So, after I complained about it for a while, my sister finally relents, and we go, basically to the sit-down restaurant. I order spaghetti, and then drink, like, 6 glasses of water while we're there. My sister keeps drinking. And then by the time we're done there, I'm like, let's just head back to the hotel, because she's way too drunk to handle, and I'm... What the hell just happened? Okay, that was weird. And I'm, like, sobering up by this point, and I'm tired. It's, like, 3 a.m. I want to just go to sleep. So I finally convinced her to go back to the hotel. The place we ate dinner at was, like, less than a block away from our timeshare. And my sister wanted to grab a cab, and I was like, oh no. No. We can just walk back. It's right there. I can see it from here. It's less than a block away. She insisted, and she got inside the cab, and the cab driver kicked her out because he was like, I'm not driving less than half a block. Get out. Which is reasonable. It's very understandable. I wouldn't want to do it either. And I was, like, trying to be like, I'm so sorry the whole time because I felt so bad. So I finally managed to get my sister back to the hotel, and she's still trying to get me to drink, by the way, by the time we got back. She's like, here, have another Mike's. I'm like, no, God, why? So I just kind of, like, fake drinked. The whole, like, I would take a sip, like, the smallest of sips, and then just, like, savor it for a while, and then anytime she noticed I wasn't drinking, I would take a small sip. Until finally she, like, went to bed. And then, that was, like, the most hungover I've ever fucking been in my life. Our moms show up the next day, and they're like, well, we can tell you've been drinking because you didn't answer our calls, and because you guys were probably asleep. And I was like, yeah. I was, like, looking at my mom like, please don't leave me alone with my sister again. So... yeah, that was my first night in Vegas. That is the most drunk I have ever freaking been. I also proved to myself that my drinking tolerance is a lot higher than I thought. It's not really the way I wanted to go about it, but, you know, here we are. So, yeah, like, that's how I learned a few tricks of the trade, I guess. It's not a trade. I don't know why I said it like that.
Everyone needs a town drunk. It's a trade.
Everyone needs a town drunk. Says Rob in the background. Yeah, so, like, Vegas has been... I've had some interesting experiences in Vegas. Some of them have been more fun than others. The time I went with my friend Yvonne was probably the most fun I've ever had, even though we were, like, super broke by the end of it. Like, way beyond what I wanted to be broke. And then we had, like, this disastrous camping experience after that we both promised never to talk about because it was that terrible. It was like one of those things where everything that could go wrong did go wrong. It was just not great. It was not good. It was like the worst camping experience I've ever been on. We ended up like, we were basically raccoons. We ended up stealing from everyone around us. Because we came in like the wrong supplies because we were in such a rush to get out. And then we ended up sleeping in the car at a rest station instead of our camping site the first night because we got way too turned around thanks to me and my poor directional skills at the time. So, yeah, it was not great. But yeah, the trip to Vegas before that was actually pretty fun. I had fun. I mean, we went to Thunder Down Under, which was great. Like seeing buff dudes in the underwear. Yeah, that was fun. I would probably have had the same fun experience seeing a lot of hot chicks in their underwear too, but you know, you can basically see those just walking down the strip. Vegas is interesting. I will never really talk about the camping trip in a lot of detail just because I promised Yvonne that I wouldn't. And y'all don't really need to hear about our crazy raccoon stealing adventures. You really don't. Trust me, it's not nearly as exciting as that initial description makes it sound. It was just 3 days of being not washed and scrounging for what we could and eating cold spaghetti. Like, that's it. That's the whole thing. Is we spent 3 days being very, very dirty and eating cold spaghetti and stealing from people, and that's the entire thing. And that's what happens, kids, if you go camping and don't have the correct supplies. Please be prepared before you leave the freaking house. That's all I can say. Like, that's really all I can say about camping is y'all better be prepared or else it's not going to be a fun time.
Go camping with a Girl Scout or a Boy Scout.
Yeah, go camping with a Girl Scout or a Boy Scout, says the Girl Scout roommate of mine. You know? Because, yeah, I gotta say, if Mikella had been there, we probably wouldn't have had such a shitty time. Yes, please provide me with a different question. Get me off of this topic before Yvonne finds out and kills me in my sleep. She'll do it. She can sense what I'm talking about this trip. She can sense it in her soul. It's terrifying. Do I have to pay before you start working on my design, or do I wait? So if you have a question about a commission, I would suggest that you bring it up to me in private. I don't like talking about commissions on stream just because I think of them as kind of a private thing between me and my client. So there's that. But also, normally I wait until I have a little bit more information or until I've been paid to start a commission. I don't start working on a commission until I've really been paid on it, is really how it works out. And I don't work on commissions on stream. So even if I am working on your commission, you won't see me working on it on stream unless I've talked to you about it before and you've said yes. I consider them to be fairly private. I don't like sharing commissions to the entire world until they're finished. Just because that's something I have been paid to do by someone else. That's really something that is going to belong to someone else. It's not really mine to share, is how I see it. Yeah, and most artists, when you commission them, they won't start working on your project until you pay them. I think it's very rare you will encounter an artist who'll be like, yeah, I'll start working on this before you pay me. At the very least, most artists will ask for half up front. And that is purely because like they either need it to buy supplies or because they need to eat. And that's how, you know, they're sustaining themselves. And I kind of work off of the same model, even though I have a side job that sustains me. I would still rather be paid first so that I know I'm going to be paid for my work, because I've seen situations online. I've never actually experienced it myself, but I've seen situations online where people will... Actually, no, I have experienced it myself, where people will promise you money and then you get nothing. Although, for me, it was weird because I knew the people and I interacted with them in person and I still somehow didn't get paid. So... Or I didn't get paid the full amount anyway. So, like... You know, there's that situation to think about as well. But yeah, I normally consider, if it's not looking right, I normally consider commissions to be a very private thing, and I won't work on them on streams. Just because again, it's like, it's someone, if someone is paying me to do a thing, then I consider that thing to belong to them, and I won't work on it, I won't post it until after I'm done. Like, it is my art. I will definitely add it to, like, my art blogs to show, like, my portfolio of work, but I'm not gonna, like, show it around for fun like I will when I'm just doing stuff for myself. Like this. You know, if I'm just doing artwork for myself, I'm not gonna... Like, I'm not gonna, like, hesitate to show it around to everybody and be like, hey, look what I'm working on. You know, isn't this fun? That kind of thing. Because that is just for fun. But if I'm doing something and it's a commission, I don't feel comfortable putting that on stream unless, you know, the person I've talked to has been like, yeah, go ahead. You know, I want to see you working on it on stream. Just because... I feel like that is more personal. It's not really something that's up to me to share. That's just kind of how I feel about it. And it's fun if you don't know. Like, we're all kind of learning. It's always a process. I'm never gonna, like, get mad at people for not understanding how something works. You know, I can probably afford to post more, like, rules about it on stuff. But it's been a while since I was streaming, and so it's been a while since it was an issue, or, you know, I guess not an issue, but, like, something I had to address. Better. Still not great. I'm just gonna start over on this foot. It's driving me crazy and I don't like it. It's not coming out the way I wanted it to. Alright, let's see. No, GIMP I consider more of a photo editing program. The program I use is Clip Paint Studio, just because it's the Windows version of Manga Studio, which is the program I had been using forever. Like, when I started doing artwork on my own, that's the program I was using. Like, I can do artwork in Photoshop, in GIMP, which is basically I'm going to assume free alternative. I'm not sure about GIMP. I've never used it. Robert, you use GIMP.
Yeah.
Is GIMP free?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm assuming GIMP is the free alternative to Photoshop.
It is.
Yeah, it's more of a photo editing program than something you would do artwork in. Because Photoshop is like fine for doing artwork in, but it's not the best. You're gonna want something that has like a little bit more options and control than Photoshop or GIMP does. Like if I was not gonna use Paint Tool Sai, if I wasn't gonna be using Clip Paint Studio, then I would be using Paint Tool Sai or that was the wrong. Like I would be using Paint Tool Sai or Fire Alpaca because I prefer Fire Alpaca. You know, it really depends on like what a particular artist likes, what they're more comfortable with. I know artists who like can't stand using anything but Sai, and then I know artists who hate using Sai. I'm kind of in the middle of that one. I've never really gotten comfortable using Sai. I feel like it's just something that I would need to practice with before I was comfortable using it. But it's not something I've used a ton of, so I'm not comfortable with it. But I'm sure if I worked with it, I would get more comfortable with Sai. And that's purely because like Sai and Fire Alpaca and Clip Paint Studio, they're built for being used with a tablet. And by this I mean like an artist tablet where you have a pen and a drawing space on the piece of technology to work with. It's not like, you know, one of those iPads or something like that. Different kind of tablet. So, like those kinds of tablets, they're built for like interacting and getting on the internet. They're basically large phones. Whereas drawing tablets are specifically made to be drawn on. They're specifically used for artists to use with art programs. And I think if I was going to use something out of the Photoshop, I mean, I do use something out of the Photoshop family. I use Clip Paint Studio. Which is essentially one of their programs. Because I did have to pay for it. Although it was on sale when I got it, so it was cheaper, which was nice. I mean, if you could get this stuff on sale, definitely do it. Or if you could use the free version programs, definitely do it. Like, the reason why I like Fire Alpaca is because it's one of the free versions, and it's a good free version. I enjoy using it. Sometimes I would use it in conjunction with Manga Studio. So, you know. Yeah. I mean, I hear Flash is okay to use for stuff like this too, but yeah. I mean, not everyone. Okay. I feel like if you have training in it, you can get better at drawing. Not everyone is going to be an artist. I feel like everyone can draw, but not everyone is an artist, if that makes sense. It's very a Ratatouille kind of situation where, like, anyone can cook, but not everyone should, you know? Or I guess that's not really the lesson in Ratatouille. The lesson in Ratatouille is, like, art can come out of, like, the strangest of places or something. I don't know. Fuck it. It's just basically a Ratatouille situation.
Just don't judge somebody based on their background. Judge them based on their results.
Yeah, it's, don't judge someone based on their background. Judge someone by their results. So basically, like, drawing is really, like, art itself is really kind of a practice. You have to train and get good at it, whether you're doing that on your own or you went to a formal schooling place, or it's a mixture of the two, like with me. it's really something that takes time and effort to cultivate. And I feel like a lot of people get to this like sense of, oh, I should just be able to pick up a pencil or a pen and draw and be good at it. And it's like, that's not how it works. I mean, I've been doing this for, God, almost 13 years now, and I'm just getting this good at it. There's people who are insanely good at it. I mean, there's people who are really talented and can pick it up and just draw, but like it takes time and effort. It's something you have to practice at. I certainly wouldn't want to teach anyone to do it because I'm not the best teacher when it comes to art. I would really recommend watching, and really, what I would really recommend is getting how to draw books, and starting from there. They have some really easy ones that have like these kind of like tutorials in them, or just start by practicing by drawing shapes. That's how they started me in art school, was just practice drawing shapes. And studying how light works off of solid objects. You're always going to want to start with stationary solid objects with basic shapes, and then work your way up from there. Because it's a process of like looking at something and understanding the shapes that make it up, and going from there. Some people require more formal training than others. I have not been someone who's gotten the training to train other people, so I wouldn't want to do it because I don't want to steer you wrong. But I Bob Ross is a great way to start. Which I know sounds ridiculous, but he really does a really good job of going over the basics of how to do shading and form. And it's Impressionism, but Impressionism is a great way to start off because Impressionism doesn't do like really hard shapes. It's more about like getting just the impression of a thing down, and that's how a lot of artists just start. If they're going to be doing stuff like comic books and stuff like that, you always want to start off with an impression of something and then build a framework around it, before you start getting into like the more detailed shapes and frames and stuff like that. So yeah, so I have been watching Kamen Rider recently with Rob. Specifically, we watched a couple episodes of Kyuga, or Kuga? Is it just Kuga?
Kamen Rider. Well, they're all Kamen Rider than the name.
Right, Kamen Rider Kuga.
But, yeah, so Kuga and Build.
Yeah, and then we started watching Kamen Rider Build, which I love. I think the main reason why I love it so much is like one of the main characters, Banjo Ryuga, is just so very much Rodimus from IDW. It's like every scene that he's in, I'm just like, hey, look, it's Rodimus in human form. Like, I can't think of him in any other way. He's just, everything he does just basically screams as the same character as IDW Rodimus, which is just ridiculous, but here we are. And I love him because I love characters like that. And the other thing is like, I don't think it really clicked for me when Robert said, Kamen Rider uses models instead of actors. Like, I don't think it really clicked for me. Until we sat down and we watched it, I was like, oh, everyone is pretty.
Did you think I meant marionettes like Thunderbirds?
No, like, it wasn't clicking in my head for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's because, like, sometimes when you go on these long tangents of things that I'm not exactly in the fandom of, I half listen, which I know is really shitty, and I really need to stop doing that. I think it comes from the days in middle school where you would go off on Zelda for hours on the phone with me. And then I would just kind of space out and not hear anything. And I'm trying to get so much better at that because now I'm actually interested in things you talk about. But sometimes my brain is like, I'm working on something else right now. Let's not listen. Which again is still really shitty, and I'm working on it. I'm listening now. If it helps. Like, I listened enough to go, you know what? Okay, I'll watch Build. And, 'cause I know we were watching, what was it? Kiva. We were watching Kiva, and I liked Kiva.
There's a better sub coming out, so I'm waiting for that to finish up.
Awesome. Yeah, I really like Build. I don't know why it was that my brain was just not processing that, yes, Japanese models means very, very pretty Japanese boys. Like, I don't know why my brain was just not processing that. And then, like, you watch it and they're like, wow, this is really gay. This is really gay. There's no straight explanation for cradling a man in your arms after saving him. Like, there's no, when you're another man, like, there's just no possible straight explanation for that. It was, like, the way he was cuddling him was so fucking adorable, too. And it was like, I'm talking about Kyuga at the moment. Kuga, it's hard, Kuga. Like, just the way that Kuga was holding the inspector. Like, there's no straight explanation for that. I'm willing to accept bi, but there's no straight explanation for it. There's just not. Like, I'm all for, like, encouraging more straight, open male relationships because men should be able to have that emotional connectivity with their friends too. But, come on. He was asleep and you were cuddling him. That's really gay.
Nothing like a small cuddle between homies.
Right? So Rob was like, nothing like a small cuddle between homies, and yeah, I very much agree. And I know I'm talking to a fairly niche audience here. I don't care. Like, I really recommend watching Build if you're into, seeing Japanese guys being pretty gay with each other. There's other things to enjoy about it. I mean, there's really good fight scenes. I think the armor's really well designed. The story itself is fairly compelling. I think what I like about Kamen Rider over Super Sentai, which is another thing Rob's still trying to get me into, and kind of has, because I really like Q Ranger, is that Kamen Rider has the darker story plots, and which I really enjoy. I really like the kind of like darker story plots. They're like right in that like kind of edgy teenage mode, which I enjoy. They kind of feel like soap operas, which is another thing that, like, I don't like watching American soap operas, but anything that feels like an American soap opera from like another country, I'm all over it for some reason. Which is just weird and stupid, I know, but like here we are. So I really like Kamen Rider. I think it's a lot of fun. Or at least I like Kamen Rider Build. Because I know like different seasons have like different writers. Writers is what I meant to say. And like different themes and stuff like that. Like, I'm still not sure. Rob's trying to get me into Gaim, and I'm not sure how.
I'm holding you off from Gaim for a while.
Oh, okay.
You do not need Game of Thrones meets Step Up to the Streets yet.
So Rob just described it as Game of Thrones meets Step Up to the Streets.
Okay, here's the reason we're not starting with Gaim.
Okay.
1, Gaim is a deconstruction.
Okay.
We don't start with the deconstruction,
Yeah.
because when you start with the deconstruction, you end up with, Rorschach's my favorite superhero, he's so relatable.
Rorschach's not a superhero!
I mean, he's a vigilante,
Yeah,
which for a lot of people is the same thing.
it's not.
Okay, the second reason we're not starting with Gaim, though,
Yeah.
is it's the first 13 episodes, you're still trying to figure out what the fuck is this show.
Okay.
Like, Build sets you up episode 1, what's going on.
Yeah.
There's a man framed for murder, there's an amnesiac scientist, Japan got split in 3, there's monsters now.
Yeah.
Good, we're good to go. Kiva sets you up by the end of episode 1, episode 2-ish,
Yeah.
with, yeah, there's just vampires, they come out of stained glass windows.
Okay.
I'm gonna go kick them a lot. Then make this violin. Kuga takes a little bit longer to set up, but they're kind of going for that Mystery X-Files vibe.
Yeah, it came off as very Buffy.
Yeah, so like even though it's like we don't quite know what the monsters are up to, or why the powers work the way they do, it has that early sci-fi channel feel of the characters don't know either,
Yeah.
and you're discovering it with them.
Yeah, which is
fun.
Yeah, which is more enjoyable than the characters know what's going on, but you don't.
Fuck you, you don't get to know, viewer. Gaim starts with... Whew. Okay, we're in a city that's basically a company town to a big corporation that nobody's sure what they do, but they kind of own everything.
Okay.
So Amazon Company Town.
Okay.
There used to be roving gangs of dancers that would have dance battles because the children were bored. And so they had dance battles. And this was a problem because old people don't like young people having fun.
It's true, they don't.
So, the company that controls the town, Yggdrasil, they have a big tree-shaped building they stay in. It's on the nose. They go, oh, don't worry, kids. Here, take these toys that totally aren't experimental war weapons. They let you summon monsters that totally aren't real if the stasis field breaks. Yeah, now you guys can go have Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels. So then it's like, wait, so you just told me it's Step Up, and now it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, I'm following so far, I think. But now the roving gangs of dancers are roving gangs of duelists who are playing the Invest game, which is, I'm gonna open this weird lock, and monsters will pop out. And then they fight.
Okay.
Okay. And we're following a guy who used to be a dance ganger, but now he's like, nah, I gotta work a delivery job, because it's just me and my sister now. I'm gonna go be sad and deliver this pizza. Beep beep. And then I gotta go work at a construction site. And then I gotta go work as a golf caddy or some bullshit. He has like every side job you could possibly have.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, it's my 3 best friends from the gang. The girl that I have nothing but respect for, unlike this guy. This guy, who's my best friend, who I'm fairly certain won't turn into a nice guy by the end of the series. Nice guy.
Ah!
And my 3rd friend. Oh no, 3rd friend disappeared. But where could he go? Well, he was your second in command of the gang. I left that life behind me. I don't dance anymore.
What the fuck?
Hey, weird, we found a portal. Let's wander into this portal to an alien world.
What the shit?
Hey, here's that belt that our friend Yuya, who disappeared not 30 minutes ago, was last found with. Oh no, monsters. I better put this belt on. And now attach a lock to it, and now I'm an orange-themed samurai. Maybe sometimes a pineapple-themed gladiator.
What the fuck?
And so you think, oh, this is a light and happy season. Because fruit theming and dance battles. And then it's like, wait, he gets armor? I want armor. I'm gonna go to the illegal black arms dealer who sells us these monsters. Give me a belt. I don't have any belts. Pulls a knife. Give me a belt.
What the fuck?
Here you go, young Kaiba.
God
Have a belt. Neat.
Young Kaiba.
Kaito comes off as young Kaiba.
Oh lord.
I'm 100% serious. No, I have to be the best, and I'll defeat you, Yugi. Look at what Yugi said to me. It hurt my feelings. Hey, do you want to play a game with me? How could he say such a thing?
Which just reminds me of me and
Johnny versus Spike problems.
Yeah, it just reminds me of Jenny and I's like stupid fighting back in middle school.
Kaiba's the best. Kaiba's an asshole.
And then she kicked me in the shin like 10
She
times.
kicked me in the shins for that thought a lot too.
Right?
It's like, well, who's better than Kaiba then? Pegasus, because he can actually run a company worth a damn without squandering his money and exploiting people. He just created loot boxes. Which is still pretty bad, but I mean, he never threatened a person's livelihood.
He did threaten people's lives.
That's different. His wife was in cancer coma. Yeah. And when you have coma cancer, you need to send people to your island, which is not Kokomo, to make them fight playing card games to revive her? Yu-Gi-Oh! Has weird plots. Anyway, back to Gaim. So you go through this, and it's like, okay, now it's an arms race of the monster duelers who now are, like, summoning the monsters into the real world to fight each other. But that company's up to something, because very often your villains in Kamen Rider boil down to fascists, corporations, or, government.
Corrupt government.
And this one is capitalism is the real enemy. And so it's like, okay, so these guys are up to something. But at least, you know, the stakes are still really low. And then episode 11 happens.
Oh no.
And I'm not going to say who, but one of them dies.
Oh god.
And he dies in a way where he turns into one of the monsters. Because the monsters spread like a zombie.
Okay.
And Kota has to kill him.
Oh lord.
And, like, put him down like a dog.
Oh, that's fucked up.
While he's still half human.
Oh god, so that's like
So it's-
old Yeller bullshit.
Yeah, and it's not like, you know, oh, he turned into a monster, like, oh, there was a transformation sequence. He still has, like, his human arm and half of his face hanging out at one point.
Oh Christ.
It's a slow transformation into the monsters.
Oh, that's fucked up. That's like,
It's nightmare fuel from that point on.
that's like Walking Dead scenario.
Yeah, so you get some Walking Dead in there. And then, just to give you an idea here, we're going to fast forward to episode 36, where the city's on lockdown, America's threatening to nuke it. People are living in a post-apocalyptic dystopia within this town. The French baker none of us trusted from the beginning is holding up a resistance movement because he's a French baker, and they're good at that.
I mean, the French are good
They're
at
good at
resisting.
resistance movements.
Yeah.
They're good at getting mad and then making croissants. Those are their two strengths. And this man is a French baker who also can summon giant spiky swords. Those are his two strengths.
I could have dropped my croissant.
And, yeah. Oh, and then Satan appears. Well, Satan's there the whole time.
What the fuck?
But he unveils himself as Satan.
What
And
the
goes,
fuck?
hey, hero. Looks like you could use something to cause a bit more chaos.
What the
Just gonna
fuck?
drop this upgrade item right here for you, buddy.
What the fuck?
Should I take powers from Satan to stop the true villain, capitalism? Yes. Oh, look, now I have a shotgun that's also a DJ table. Kaboom!
I have concerns.
This is why we're not starting you on Gaim.
Yeah.
Okay? Build's a very straightforward thing.
Yeah, and I like it because it's like it's both straightforward and gay.
And that there is intrigue to it, like, who's this guy? Ooh, there's a secret shadowy organization. Oh, what? Duplicitousness. Ooh, time to go to another country. Hey, look, an onsen. Everything you love in an anime.
like it is very anime plot related, which is fun.
It's like, I'm the grim dark villain. I'm truly the stronger one. Hi, I'm the gay joke villain. I'm gonna shoot everyone.
I love
Bloodstark is like that, and he's great.
I love Bloodstock. He's the best. And it's so funny because, like, watching this and watching these Common Writer shows, because, again, when I was making my OCs, I wasn't listening 100%, apparently. Because now I'm looking at it and I'm like, wait a minute. Spider, bat, snake, snake, bat, snake, spider. What the hell, Rob? Because my OCs for Transformers are a snake, a bat, and a spider.
Well, to be fair, you settled on a snake and a bat on your own.
Yeah.
And I said, you should add in a spider. Why should I? Because the first 3 villains in every Kamen Rider series are a snake, a bat, and a spider. And you went, yeah, that sounds good. Spiders are pretty cool. And you basically brushed off my suggestion while taking it. And now you're, you're in your 3rd series, you go, hey, there's a lot of bat snakes and spiders showing up at the beginning of the... God damn it. Is this why you wanted the grasshopper villain? Yes. Yes, it is.
And so that's how I wound up with a bunch of Transformers that are snakes and spiders and bats.
Isn't it great? I think it's great.
Like the thing is like, this happens a lot with Rob and me, where he, like, makes a suggestion, and I listen to it, and then I do it because I think it sounds cool, and then, like, 5 minutes later, it dawns on me what I've done, and then I go, God damn it!
Now, to be fair, this isn't just creative suggestions. This is also things like, hey, what should we have for dinner? Ooh, we could go to the Chinese buffet. That sounds okay. And then we get there, and you're on your 4th plate of chow mein, and you're like, God damn it! I was on a diet!
Or alternatively, fuck, I forgot how shitty I am at Chinese buffets!
Ah, man, I have no sense of self-control. Yeah, that sounded a lot better without you shoveling the frozen yogurt in your mouth. What?
Which is, again, what happens every time we go to a buffet. Every time we go to a buffet, I wind up overstuffing myself and being like, why did I agree to this?
Stupid coronavirus, canceling conventions and buffets.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to have our pre-convention buffet now? We can't even go to the convention, much less the buffet. Also, I ain't going to the buffet. I once saw a kid open-mouth sneeze at a hometown buffet onto the mac and cheese. Then, wipe his nose with his hand, stick his hand into the sneezed-on mac and cheese, shove it in his mouth and go, and then put the rest of what didn't get in his mouth back in the mac and cheese. And nobody changed it. And that's why we never went to the hometown buffet ever again in Moreno Valley. I think it's gone now.
It is. Thank God.
Meanwhile, it's like, hey, why do you trust the little Chinese buffets? You know why? Do you know why? Because that little old Asian lady, she's real good at replacing the beef broccoli when a kid's open mouth sneezes on it.
Yeah, like, the Chinese places get real anal retentive about that, which is what I enjoy.
It's like, how do you think they keep that A in their window this whole time? They do it by effort.
Yeah, like, the second they see anyone being kind of shady next to their food, they get really, really aggressive, and I actually really appreciate that.
Yep, it's great.
Yep.
Oh.
Yes?
I'm trying to think, what's weird shit in other series you need to experience?
Oh, no, I have one for you this time.
Okay.
Because one of the animes one of the anime genres that I actually kind of still enjoy,
Yeah.
But mainly for the lulz and not so much seriously anymore, is the harem and or reverse harem animes.
I'm still fond of those.
Mainly I like the reverse harem animes where it's like one girl and a shit ton of boys. Mostly because those plot lines get fucking ridiculous really fast. Because with regular harem animes, they go into, like, other genres, and it gets like, weird in ways that are, like, funny. But with the girl versions, it only ever gets weird in ways that are uncomfortable.
Women tend to prefer drama in their media. This isn't to say they don't like comedy.
Yeah.
But with stuff aimed at women, you're tend to going to get drama.
Yes.
Stuff aimed at men, we're tend to be given comedy.
Yes.
Because only men deserve to laugh. Now, and a side effect of this is, like, if you compare shows that came out on around the same era that my sister and I were both watching, I tended to go for, you know, like, the sillier shit. Stuff aimed at teenage boys tends to be stuff like Ridiculousness, Jackass. Stuff aimed at girls is like Pretty Little Liars. But which one did the murder? we need to know who this really was. And it's fucking Desperate Housewives for teenagers.
Yeah, I remember that, except I never watched Pretty Little Liars because I was watching Desperate Housewives.
That's true. my sister was obsessed with it. She read the whole thing. And my sister does not read. But she read every book, and then when the twist at the end of the TV show was different, she got mad, threw the last novel on the ground, and stormed out of the room. Like, can't believe they changed the ending! How dare they?
I mean, that was me with what is it,
True Blood?
With True Blood, is I read the books and I got mad, not that they changed the endings or anything.
They changed some characters majorly, right?
They changed a lot of characters majorly. Like, I was fine with them keeping Lafayette because I loved Lafayette. And he was, like, the only gay representation. So
Sure.
I loved him even more. Lafayette was great. I was fine with him staking around. What I hated was all of a sudden Bill is so much more important than he ever was in the book. And was suddenly we were just supposed to be like, he's a fine guy for Sookie. And it's like, no, she's supposed to wind up with either Eric or the shapeshifter. Stop making the shapeshifter be worse than Bill. The whole point was that he was the better dude.
What's the weird
Fuck
shit?
you.
What's the weird shit from your harem anime? Is it the one with the girl who is obsessed with Japan or some shit?
What?
There's the one where, like, the boys are reincarnations of characters she likes in a show? I wasn't paying full attention.
Oh, that one. Okay, so that one is Kiss Him, Not Me.
Yes.
Which, it's just fun because it's like, the one that you want her to wind up with is the senpai who loved her when she was fat.
Yes.
Or, the lesbian who loves her regardless.
Those are both good answers.
Yes. The only other one I would accept is the classmate who, like, figured out, you know what, I don't care what size she is, I love her regardless.
Right.
It
the
takes...
one who was like, I was an asshole before. I'm okay now.
Yeah, like, it takes him a while to get there, but, like, fine, whatever. I still prefer the senpai, and who didn't have to go through the fucking character growth to get there, and the lesbian who loves her just all the time, because the lesbian is great. But, I keep saying lesbian, I know she's not really a lesbian. But, like, I like that show because there's a reason why the main character is, like, refusing to get with the boys, and it's because she has, like, a complex about it. And it's like, no, I'm fat, they don't want to be with me, even when she's small and skinny.
Get to the weird part. Or was the weird part from another show?
The weird part's from another show.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's the only one I was really paying attention to.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about shows like, I just put this one out there, Brother Complex, which is the girl who has 16 stepbrothers, and they all fall in love with her, regardless of age differences and or gay alignment.
This one's a baby. This one's gay. They both love you.
Which is ridiculous. And then for no reason there's a talking squirrel.
No, that's the only part of this that makes sense to me so far.
Right, he's the talking squirrel. That one I can accept. Everything else about it, I'm like, no.
The talking squirrel makes more sense than the Inseki.
You're right? Like, the only one that's acceptable is the,
guy who knew her before.
Is the classmate who was in love with her before any of this happened, and is now like, oh shit, she's my stepsister now, what the fuck?
Okay, now all I can think of is that stupid video I shared with you last year.
Oh yeah, stepbrother!
My name is Eric! Stop! I'm lost. It's a 4-room apartment. How are you lost?
Right?
I'm stuck. Just back up.
Yeah.
Just walk out of the dryer.
Yeah, so that kind of stuff. Like, there's that one, and then there's the one where it's like, oh no, there are 6 devil boys, and they will randomly break out into song.
Oh, that's fun.
Like, that one is just, it's so ridiculous on his face that it just breaks into song, and this is not the only one with demons. There's another one with vampires and demons, and that one's just also stupid. Because the way that these shows tend to get into, like, the ridiculous is just in ways that make me laugh ironically. Because I'm sure this show wants me to take them seriously. I legitimately cannot. I can't take them seriously. I can't, even if I tried. Just because they're so stupid. And the worst one at it is Brother Complex, because it wants you to take the show seriously so bad. And there's just no way that is ever going to happen.
I'm abandoning you again.
Okay, abandon me. So like, yeah, brother complex is just so utterly ridiculous. I just love it simply for the fact of it's so ridiculous that you have to laugh at it. It's one of those situations of it's so bad it's good. Like, it's like a microcosm of everything that is wrong with reverse harem anime. Especially like the ones aimed at girls, because inevitably there's always going to be that one that gets into incest, and it's always the girl ones I've noticed. Like, sometimes it's the guy ones with like the stepsister, but you know he's never going to wind up with the stepsister or the cousin or whatever. Whereas with the girl ones, it's a real fear. Like, I've watched one where that is exactly what happened. She wound up with the cousin or something, and I was like, no, oh god, no. Like, it was really bad. And I remember, like, in middle school, we were all reading this manga called Marmalade Boy, where it was like a will they won't they situation, and it was great. And then like the last 2 volumes veered into, oh no, we might be brother and sister, we have to cut off the relationship. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? Where did this come from? What the shit? And it kind of like blew my mind in high school, because I was like, I have no idea where that plot came from, and I don't appreciate it. Like, it turned out in the end they weren't related, but like the fact that it veered there at all in the first place is not a good sign. So like, I like watching those kind of shows, and then I also just like watching shows that are mildly ridiculous, simply for the sake of being ridiculous. Like, Love Stage. I love Love Stage. It is a ridiculous show. It's a comedy and a yaoi, but it's just kind of ridiculous and silly, and the artwork is so fucking cute. I legitimately cannot get over how cute the artwork is for this show, and also the manga. The manga is also insanely adorable. Like, it's too cute. I want to do lips like that anime does lips, because they're so freaking adorable. Everyone has like the cat uwu face, but like in a good way. And I freaking love it. And I can't get over it. It's too cool. I need a second season. Please give me a second season. I need more. I love that show. It's great. So there's that one. I also love like the manga that are about like the young actress getting into the field, like Skip Beat. Skip Beat is great. I love Skip Beat. I also love Glass Mask, which is the old 80s version of it, basically. Although that manga is still ongoing, which just blows my effing mind. Like, that a manga from the freaking 80s is still being drawn to this day. Like, I don't, like, it just is like, wow, that has got to be, like, one of the oldest freaking mangas out there. That is, like, still in production. It's just kind of nuts. But I love those kind of, like, young actresses coming in, or young actors, like, coming into their own. I have no idea why. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that I was a child actor. But I love those stories. I think they're great. I especially love Skip Beat, because Skip Beat also tends to veer into the whole like issues with parents section, where it's like the main character had not great upbringing and like has to rise above that and use it in order to become a better person. And I'm like, oh, I feel that on an emotional and personal level. So like, I also love Skip Beat for those reasons. Like, I love the writer and artist of Skip Beat, because I know they've done another one in a similar vein before. And to the point of like I read that one and then I read Skippy and it got to the point where I could like predict how Skippy was going to go with a certain story arc, to the point of I actually pissed off an online community because I was like, I predicted it so closely and they were like, that's not what's gonna happen, you don't know, you can't predict what a writer is gonna do, and then it happened and they were like,
Foreshadowing.
I'm like, it's called foreshadowing, you dinguses. and then it happened exactly the way I said it was gonna happen, and everyone got mad. And I was just like, I never popped back in to say I told you so, but I really, really wanted to. Just because everyone got so mad at me for, like, attempting to predict what was going to happen. And I was like, I mean, you can, though. You can easily sometimes predict what writers are gonna do. Especially if the writer has done work before, and their work is similar. Like with Stephen King, his work is fairly predictable. There's a monster, it's gonna kill people. The monster will either die or some other shit will happen, and then we'll have kind of a happy ending. Not really. Did I not just sum out every Stephen King novel?
Sometimes there's a monster, sometimes there's not.
Yeah. Sometimes the monster was humanity. Like,
One time it's just a ghost. Coked up Stephen King's the best.
yeah. Like, I was reading, when I went to Japan as an exchange student, between high school and middle school, which, sorry, Robert, I just had to apologize to him for it every time, because he should have gone on that trip, and he didn't.
Not need to, it wasn't your fault.
Yeah. It clearly wasn't, because, if I'd had my way, you would have gone. Because the guy who took your place should not have gone. Anyway. So while I was in Japan, I was reading Carrie. Because this is back when I was, like, an obsessive reader. I would pick a book, and I would read it, like, consistently, and I would have, like, always, like, 3 or 4 books on my person, because I was just so voracious about it. And I brought Carrie with me over to Japan, and I was reading it, I was finishing it up late one night, and I got to the ending, and I ended up bursting out laughing, because the idea of her walking down the street in this blood-soaked prom dress, making things explode, was for some reason the funniest freaking thing I'd ever freaking read. And so I just wound up, like, hysterically laughing in the middle of the night in Japan. I'm fairly certain I probably spooked my host father, who would stay up late out in the living room. I know I spooked him one night because I had, like, a nightmare, and I wound up going out into the living room to watch, like, TV to calm down, and he was just out there, which was interesting. Ugh, I love Japan. I want to go back. Like, I would love to see my my host family again. They were really great. They were great people. But yeah, like, so Carrie to me, I have no idea what the hell it is about the ending to Carrie. It makes me laugh every freaking time. I can't get over it. I don't know what it is. It's just the idea of this girl covered in pig's blood just walking down the street making everything explode, and I don't know why that's the funniest thing in the world to me, but it is. Like, it shouldn't be. That should not be funny. She's going down the street killing people, and yet my whole every brain just goes, this is so hilarious. What the hell? And it's less that she's hurting and covered in blood and hurting people, and more just the fact that, like, she never bothers to clean it up. Like, just to take a second and, like, wash it off of herself. I remember specifically there's this, like, scene where a fire hydrant explodes, and I'm like, why wouldn't you use that to, like, clean off some of the pig's blood? Why would you continue to be soaked in pig's blood this whole time? Like, that was the part I think that just threw me over into this is hilarious. And I still don't know why. I still don't know why it's so funny to me. It just is. Like, I've seen the 1970s version. I think I've seen some of the newer version of the movie as well. And the 1970s movie, again, I get to the ending and I wind up cracking up. And I don't know why. Like, sometimes I will laugh at horror films because sometimes there's, like, moments that are funny. And they're built specifically to, like, lessen the tension, you know, just to have like a break, because you need those in horror films sometimes. You need to have like a break from all of the screaming. But yeah, like, I don't know what it is about Stephen King, but there's always like portions of his movies and books where I like wind up laughing, and it's always at like the really like inappropriate moments. But, like, you should not be laughing at that. But I am. Like, I know when I watched the movie, I was watching it with a friend, and she ended up laughing at, like, the shower scene where they're, like, throwing tampons and period pads at her. And I was like, that's not funny. I've been tortured in the girls' locker room before. That's not funny to me. But Carrie walking down the street covered in pig's blood and making shit explode, that's funny to me. I think something else that was like weirdly funny to me is what was I watching? I was watching some horror film, and like you get like I got like halfway through it, and then I just got annoyed because they kept showing the monster. And the monster wasn't nearly as scary as the film seemed to, like, want you to think. And I was like, this would be a whole lot scarier if they would stop showing me the effing creature already. Like... And I think it was, like, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark or something like that.
Yeah, they have no ability to make things good in that.
No, not the TV series. It was a movie.
Oh, I'm thinking of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, that was Are You Afraid of the Dark? This was Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, which is, like, a movie. And, like... The villains were like fairies or something, so I had high hopes that it was gonna be like interesting and like kind of creepy, but no, they ended up showing the fairies, like the monster fairies, way too damn much, and instead of them being creepy, they were just like ugly cute and like not creepy at all and not scary, and then they just kept showing them like these were the scariest thing they'd ever freaking seen, and I'm like, it's not scary anymore. It was mildly scary the first time, but now it's just annoying. Because now I've gotten a really good look at them, and they're not terrifying. Why aren't people just stepping on them more? Like, I just got real frustrated with the movie, because I'm like, it's not spooky. Stop trying to make it scary, because it's not anymore. Now I'm just frustrated. Like, so sometimes, like, horror movies make you laugh, and not in a good way. Like, they make you laugh because they're ridiculous. That was the other thing I watched when I was in Japan. For some reason, there was an English channel, and the English channel was showing 13 Ghosts. And I wound up watching that and getting, like, a little bit scared. And my host father caught me watching it, and was like, Japanese ghost much scarier than American ghosts. And I was like, that did not make me feel more comfortable, thanks. During that time period, I was really obsessed with ghosts. Like, I think that was like when not Ghost Adventures, World's Most Haunted Places was that big thing where they would send people into like haunted houses, and they'd have all those like different cameras and shit, and it's like you had to spend a night, and if you did, you wound up winning so much money or something. I remember being obsessed with that show. That was a good show. I wish I could find it somewhere to like stream or something, but I've never been able to find it again. I hear Rob typing, so I'm assuming he's like looking it up or something.
Oh, what are you asking about?
Nothing. What?
13 Ghosts?
No, World's Most Haunted Places or something like that. You know that show where they, like, where they, like, would send people to these really haunted places with, like, all the cameras and stuff, and if they stayed the whole night, they won money or something? Maybe they didn't win
There's
money.
something like that. It was a reality show.
Yeah.
It was just Most Haunted.
Oh, it was just Most Haunted. Okay.
From 2002, British show,
Yeah, it was a British show. That's right.
starring Yvette Fielding.
No idea who Yvette Fielding is, but okay.
Redheaded gal.
Yeah, it was interesting, I guess. Alright, so it is now 11:34. I think I've been streaming for 2 hours, which seems like a good amount of time for me. I'll probably work on this some more when you guys aren't here. And we will come back to this next time. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys had a good time. I will see you guys later. Thank you for joining us. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on Twitch, remember to follow or subscribe to us. I will see you guys later. Okay, bye guys.